Hi, my name is Sarah Seamount, and I'm the Migrant Education Coordinator for Idaho. Today's mini training is about how to correct an error on a Certificate of Eligibility, or COE. In the chat, please type your name, role, and school district. The best way to correct errors is to prevent them before they happen. This will save you and me a lot of time. As the old saying goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Checking the birth certificate is the best way to ensure that student names and dates of birth are correct. You will also find that using Google Maps is a good way to ensure that cities and streets are spelled correctly. There are two kinds of errors that may need correction. The first are those that do not require an Otis ticket to fix. We will talk about those that do require an Otis ticket to correct in a bit. Everyone makes mistakes. We are all human. So what do you do when you find an error on an approved COE? First, decide if you need an Otis ticket. We will cover what to do for errors that do not require an Otis ticket first. The two cases that require an Otis ticket to correct are for students with duplicate EDU IDs. In other words, the student has two unique IDs, and for errors in the student's name. We will come back to these. Next, decide who can correct the error. You can correct the error, the COE current address or phone number. Just go to the movement history screen and click on edit. This can also be done at any time, such as when a family moves within your district and isn't eligible for a new COE. Updating addresses and phone numbers will help keep your parent contact info report accurate, which can be very helpful in calling parents for parent events. If the correction needs to be made to a parent name or to anything in the qualifying moves and work section, you will need to have the COE unsubmitted in order to make changes. In order to have a COE unsubmitted, you will need to contact your regional coordinator and let him or her know the COE number and why the COE needs to be unsubmitted. You can do this by email as long as it doesn't include any information about the student. It is okay to email the COE number. Part of the reason only a regional can request that a COE be unsubmitted is to have another set of eyes double check that we don't ever unsubmit a COE that can't be reapproved. This is important because the migratory agricultural worker status is only good for 3 years based on the date that the recruiter interviews the parent. When you resubmit a COE, a new interview date is generated by the system. Let me repeat that. When you resubmit the COE, a new interview date is automatically generated by the system as of the submission date. If the date of the migratory worker move is more than 3 years ago on that day, or the COE is expired, we will not unsubmit a COE as it could not be reapproved when resubmitted. Once a COE is unsubmitted, you will export the COE to your device and make the corrections that are needed. Remember, if there are changes made to the qualifying moves and work section, it will require a new parent signature. Follow the regular process for importing, reviewing, and submitting the COE. Now we're going to talk about the corrections that require an Otis ticket and how you will do it. Student name corrections will be handled by migrant staff at the SDE. This is the area that is new for our training. So when you create this Otis ticket, it will come to me and probably Sandy or Kelly in the future. You will choose web app, then DataFix, and then MSIS, and it will automatically go to the migrant queue, which I can use and interact with. Remember not to put student PII in the summary or title. Then give me the information that shows above, the EDU ID, COE number, and the correct name spelling. It can also be helpful to tell me what the difference is. You can request a change in spelling, add missing names, such as a middle name or additional last name. You can also request changes to more than one name on the COE. Please fill out a separate Otis ticket for a different COE. We will try to correct any tickets we receive within the same week. So if there is more than one name that needs correcting for a single COE, you can put both of those names on the same Otis ticket. The main culprit for getting duplicate EDU IDs seems to be a COE with a wrong date of birth for a student. When the regional is approving the COE, the system attempts to match the name and date of birth with an existing student. If it can't find a match, but finds one that is similar, the system will ask the regional if he or she wants to create a new EDU ID. Since we know that many popular names, Juan Martinez, for example, may belong to more than one student, the regional will choose to create a new EDU ID. To avoid this common problem, I've asked the regionals not to create a new ID if the student is listed on the COE as attending a school. These students should already have an EDU ID. Instead, the regional will contact you to find out if the student has an EDU ID in your school system. Hopefully, this will help us to eliminate one cause of duplicates. The other common problem is when we create an EDU ID for a preschool child who then gets a new EDU ID when he or she starts school because of a wrong date of birth or possibly a wrong name. This is why it is so important to check the birth certificate for the correct name and date of birth. In order to create this type of Otis ticket, it is important to have the information you will need. Verify the student's name and date of birth on the birth certificate. This is critical. And make a note of which EDU ID is currently in use in your school information system. Here's the way to create an Otis ticket to get duplicate EDU IDs merged. The ticket type is web app, then EDU ID correction/merge, then SLDS, which stands for State Longitudinal Data System. Again, no PII in the summary or title, please. In the description, please include all of the information above if you are also correcting a date of birth. There is some follow-up that needs to happen after the correction is done. First, on the day after you are notified through Otis that the correction is made, please verify that the student ID is now correct in MSIS and on the COE. Since we upload to M6 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, please also verify that the correction is made there. It takes a day or two for these corrections to be processed, so I'd wait 4 or 5 days to verify M6. Finally, print a copy of the new COE for the cumulative record and for the parents. If there are still errors on the COE and you've done an EDU ID merge, go back to the type of error that you have remaining and correct it. I would always do the merge first before correcting other errors. And that will bring us to the end of our presentation and our recording, and we will do some Q&A now. Thank you very much for attending.